All right, Cyber traders, welcome on back to wrap up our week here this Friday, February 10th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Great to see at least all of us still joining us right now. Leda and Michael included, John as well, loud and clear from them all. So hopefully good to go for all of us inside the live trading room. Good to go for all of us on all of our social streams, that is, Facebook Live, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. Great to see all of us collectively. Markets right now are dropping off, so I guess another day where we could prove that point where, hey, hopefully there could be a nice stock that could run up against the grain on its own accord. Looks like the SPY is going to begin to pull back, perhaps test the lows going into the afternoon. So yeah, right now, I don't know. I was just kind of scanning around before this meeting started, and I landed on Boyle. It's up like 7%. I really was kind of digging at the bottom of the barrel here to try and come up with something looking pretty good on the way up. So, that being said, hopefully something can pop momentarily. But yeah, Boyle is like an ETF. So if you're not familiar with trading an ETF to begin with, I would not suggest for you to trade it. So, you don't need to trade this, just because we're going to put it on our watch list. But that being said, even if you're unfamiliar with trading an ETF, if you do have Bookmap, if you do have level 4, it does make it a little bit easier. It makes it a little bit more tolerable to follow the order flow on an ETF. So it's saying that Boyle, I'll put this on our watch list. Markets are dropping off a little bit, this moving up. I'm going to just shop around those gas ETFs right now because what was I thinking? Cold right there. So cold dropping off. I would assume UNG then going up. Yeah, all right. So UNG is another one, much like Boyle. Those two go together. I was kind of thinking which one goes with Boyle. This one, UNG. So it's not up as much, but if you want to put this on the watch list, similar with the other ETF, you could do that. But again, if you don't have Bookmap and you're unfamiliar or inexperienced trading an ETF, please listen to me and say, and just don't trade this. There's going to be a couple of other things that we'll look to put on our watch list at this point. Hopefully, something looking a lot better than this on the way up. Otherwise, there could be a couple of good shorts to work with. We were calling out we were calling out AFRM earlier, Carvana, if you were able to get the shares at least, that was getting wrecked. So there could be a couple of good trades that go with the market on the way down. Either way, let's start right from the top, though, folks. You got this V-Line stock. It's a cheapie. And on a day like today, not just because the markets are slumping off, but really it was pretty tough to try and find like a really consistent runner right now at this time. The morning was good, but now at this time, it's been a little tough. At this type of day, it wouldn't be too bad to put this on our main list. Normally I'm not as accustomed to try and put a stock below $1 on our main list, expecting another big pop. It already had such a big squeeze up over 159% right now. So I'm a little reluctant anyway, but for right now, I'll make the cut. Hopefully it can make a move all the way up towards lucky, well, not even lucky, towards, respectable dollar level right there off of 1. So off of a, dollar right there, perhaps that could be the home run target. Now, this HILS, I expected a lot more out of, but at the same time, though, the theme for today with all of these cheap stocks making these squeezes up, they were pretty low float. And between this and the next one, the SQL, they're trading well more than their float. Typically we'll trade stocks that trade higher than their float, but for a stock that has like a 3 million, 5 million share float, it's trading like 10, 20 times that right now. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to expect continuation. It's more exhausted than anything. So the HILS, the SQL, and they were pretty choppy too. They made, this one had a nice pop at first, continued up going into the open, not even, from regular session. Really, after 9:30, both of these trades, they were kind of duds. Kind of unfortunate, right? This one definitely dropped off, but all right. So they weren't all duds. The XPON stock, Fausto hit this head on. Popped up after the drop off, and from there built the support that we were looking at off of 270, 265. From that stage, ended up making a beautiful slingshot, at least from there. So ended up topping off right around 370, 375. Now at this point, well, you could see not really looking too good, kind of slumping off right now. And AOV. Yeah, I saw this before. I was scanning around, like I had said. Just has such a thin book. There is no need to try and follow a stock like this that has as big of a spread. at least the VLON stock, and it's a cheapie, whatever, but it's on a consistent penny spread for right now. If this gets to be more than a penny spread for a stock, below $1, then obviously that's going to be pretty big. Everything is relative, right? All right, so that takes me to Oscar. Oscar ended up making a nice pop earlier today. Actually, this was one Fausto was even more head on with at first. Ended up popping up, just consolidated, making higher lows. Ended up trending up pretty nicely up towards 5. But again, as much as we want a continuation, check the time. Right around 10:15, right around 10:30 Eastern time. Check the level, $5, whole number level, just like one you were saying before. Show a lot of respect to that $5 incremental level. And for the first time testing it in probably a long amount of time, ended up failing to continue to break higher and ended up dropping off. So, at this point right now, it looks just more flat, right? But, and if there is one but I could throw in there, that's trending off of higher lows, right? It's trending upward a little bit there. It's a little slow, a little stagnant, but it's above the VWAP. So if you're asking yourself, am I selling myself on putting this on our watch list? I think I am. So I'm going to put this on our main list. See if this ends up making another move up over 5. It's not only breaking over the VWAP. You could actually even just see this from my TradeStation Matrix. I'm going to do a whole little mini series on the TradeStation Matrix just on our YouTube channel. So if you want to subscribe right to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. I know a lot of us are there right now. But if you just check this out here, I'll go more into detail into this in like a bit of a mini series. It's over the VWAP and it's over big volume that was filled. On level 4, it would be called the CVP column. But it's just to say, this is a pretty big talking point for this trade right now, heading into the weekly close. So yeah, I mean, I'll give this a look. If it ends up slamming down here from this point or during the meeting, well, actually, in that case, perhaps it's shortable. So, should that happen coming up, perhaps that could be a trade we could take the other way. But I'd be more inclined to respect the trend up first, though. Look for the pop up higher. All right, what else we got here in the meantime? NGL up over 23%. It's just so slow. I mean, even more than the other one, more than Oscar there. It is trending up a little bit. I'll write it down on the side. It was tough to, at least keep profits. It was a good morning, but I ended up giving a decent amount back, still in the plus. But at that, just it came to a point where it wasn't 1,000 paper cuts, but it was like death by like 4 or 5 paper cuts. I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm stopping here. Stopping while we're ahead. Don't want to give it all back. So, hopefully there's a lot more momentum going into the weekly close. This 9 trade actually looks pretty good. Bit of a thin book altogether. I mean, looks like a tight spread here, but it's going to open up in a moment. You have pretty thin volume collectively out there on the bid and the ask. So I like the chart. Now, if 9's moving, we'll check out another like oil stock, maybe INDO. Both of these ended up running for us in the past. ENSV, another energy stock. HUSA. None of these look that great. That's the thing. I like maybe they could pop later. Maybe they won't. They don't look like they will. So I'm not going to hold them to it. So yeah, right now at least, I don't know. What was the other one? The 9? 9 definitely looks pretty strong. I'll put this at least on our main list. I'd look for it to, if not squeeze up immediately up higher now off 11, then look for it to build support off of like 1085 perhaps later on. All right, so market really hasn't gone much of anywhere since we started the meeting. It looks like it's squeezed up a little bit, hasn't trended down more. So, we'll see if there's any stocks that could be near the lows. I know I talked about a couple of good short opportunities earlier today. HPCO, I mean, I don't even need to comment on this. What goes up comes back down, right? So Lyft, this has been more disappointing as a short right now this afternoon. Hopefully there's a lot more left to it on the downside. I mean, it was a great short earlier today, right off of 1072. A couple of giant sell prints that came in. I think it was like 124,000 or something like that at first. And then minutes later, just like 4 or 5 minutes down the line, like saw like a 270 plus thousand share fill on the bid. and then the stock tanked. It was like maybe like a minute later. So the more and more selling that kicked in from that point, you want to respect the trend at that point in the morning, led to a lower high and a perfect drop off. But it failed to continue. It failed to continue to pull back closer towards the 10 level at $10. And this is where I could bring up Bookmap right now. Let me bring up level 4 right now for all of us here. You could see there's a bunch of volume now on the bid. There really has been since the late morning, but you could see what's down below. Well, it's all the way down there at $10. You know, near 500,000 shares on the bid at 10. So I don't think we need to really break out the calculator, at least for that one, right? And it's like basically $5 million that's out there. So, I feel like that's some pretty big money. I would want to see this try and make the squeeze lower and get closer to that 10 level. If not, try and even test it. I'm not expecting it to necessarily drop all the way down at 10, but I feel like this can get a little bit closer, especially if the S&P drops off a little bit more itself. So, yeah, lift as a short. I'll put this on our main list for right now. I know it's kind of squeezing up a little bit here, but we'll see if it ends up holding, breaking back below 1035. Big volume level there. All right. What else we got though in the meantime? Let me just kind of there we go. Never know what like number I'm going through. As most of these meetings, I just always kind of see the same number there. It's scrunched up. There you go. It makes it a little bit easier. All right. So what do we got here? Oh, there's you. I'm not going to do my stupid, corny dad joke on this one. So we will put on our watch list Unity software, dropping off right now pretty nicely. We had called it out earlier, among a few other trades that were dropping off at the time. So good to see continuation on this one. Carvana, I mean, if you're able to get the shares to short it, then that could be something else to keep a good eye on. Down like right around 9% right now. So if you're able to get the shares, go for it. If not, then I'm not going to be as keen to put it on the watch list then. AFRM coming off of yesterday's news with earnings dropped off pretty nicely after the open, at least. Looks like it's setting up for a nice Fausto flag to the downside, actually. So this actually looks pretty good as a short as well. AFRM. All right. So, you know what? I'll tell you, that's pretty much all it from me. I did a really quick run through right there, but for a Friday, you're just going into the meeting, there was kind of like a little stagnant pace within the market, a couple of shorts here and there. But, if there's anything else looking good on the way up or down, either way, just let me know. SI, if you're able to get the shares, that could be something. Coinbase is shortable, a little expensive, but that could be, on your radar if you do well on that normally day to day. From Carla, one of our trial members here, welcome aboard. And actually allow me to say to any of our new trial members joining us today, I know we had a couple of webinars this week, so new members just day to day. So welcome aboard, Carla, and any of our new members joining us. She's asking, can you explain the Fausto flag? All right, so absolutely. Do a little time on that just right now. I've heard you say it a couple of times here. So a Fausto flag is just a chart pattern. Essentially, think of it as an ascending or descending triangle, just where, depending on the trend, you're going to expect to see continuation up or down. So in the sense of AFRM and calling out the Fausto flag, we're looking for a break of support and continuation to the downside. That's essentially what I'm looking for there. Now, I will say, though, another member earlier, unnamed, just earlier, they were asking about a stock earlier, and it tanked at that point. So it led me to ask why they were asking about it. I hope they weren't in it from the morning. So it leads me to say to any new trial members joining us right now, if you are untrained in terms of following the type of stocks that we call out, or in terms of following level 3 and level 4, our strategy here at CTU, and it's okay to say that you're not trained on that just yet. That's all right. But if you're a trial member, we don't want you to lose any money. We don't want you to risk any money for that reason. Last thing we want you to do is jump into a trade without knowing why we're calling it out, what we're doing if it goes the other way, right? We're getting get out, right? We have to be pretty quick with our reactions. So in class, Carla, and then all of our trial members here, you're going to learn about Fausto flags. You're going to learn about the 30-second rule that Fausto often talks about himself here. So there's a lot to learn, a lot to digest. So welcome aboard to any of our new trial members here. Make sure to get in touch with your education advisor here. They're basically the middleman or middlewoman between you and Fausto, you and myself. Of course, any questions, feel more than free to shoot me a quick email, though, personally. Josh at c2trading.com is my email. That goes across the board, though, collectively, just to any of our trial members, students, any of us on social media as well. I wish you all a happy weekend. I'll post my email there. Just lastly, Josh at c2trading.com. Just last checkup here on Benzinga from my side of things, then I'll do so. NAOV, This one I did not put on the main list just yet. It looked like it popped and dropped. It was beginning to squeeze up. So at this point now, I'm making a higher high. I'll put this on our main watch list. Just be really careful of the order book, though. Pretty thin liquidity across the board. This could be a classic pop and drop type of stock. I mean, obviously did here. So all right, last one here, SQL. Not doing much on that. All right, so I think that will do, folks. So for all of us on social media, again, let me know if you have any questions. But happy weekend! Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl as well, right? Hey, who's everybody rooting for? At least for all of us inside the live trading room. Before we finish up, Fausto may have asked that question earlier in the morning meeting. I had stepped away at the time, so my apologies. But who are we all rooting for the big game on Sunday? Eagles or the Chiefs? I'm a Giants fan, right? It's gonna be tough for me to root against the Chiefs here on this one. I really can't stand the Eagles as a team. I'm a Jalen Hurts fan, though. I like their quarterback. Really good role model. Same with Mahomes, obviously, too. But split decision here inside our live trading room. A few Chiefs, a few Eagles. Ron says I don't like either team. Yeah, I'll tell you, the Chiefs are becoming like the new Patriots, it feels like. It sounds like they're becoming the new dynasty team. It's getting annoying there. Where are my Giants at? We got to get the Giants back in the Super Bowl. Yeah, Patrick K, one of our regular attendees inside our live trading room on YouTube right now, saying, "Go Eagles." There we go. From Tim on YouTube as well, VLON. So VLON's on our list already. I'm not as accustomed to following these cheapy stocks, Tim, the ones below $1. And that's not an insult to the stock. It's just they don't really make as concise moves. So this already made a pretty concise move. It's already up over 168%. So when is this going to begin to pull back? It's making lower highs now. That's where you got to be careful. But on a day like today, we didn't really have too much to begin to put on our watch list from the get-go. So it made the cut. I have it on our list there, Tim. It'll be good. The VLON, hopefully. Michael saying Roblox. Yeah, Roblox is some like partnership with NFL actually for a Super Bowl thing. It's interesting that they're down over 5% though. So yeah, it looks like they're right off the lows. They're also like looking to set up for a pretty good short. I don't mind slipping this on our list here to wrap up. It's a good add-on from Mike. I like that one. Roblox. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up right now. So Rich will be on the mic just for all of us inside the live trading room from 3 to 4. I'll be in the chat board at least up until 3:30 as usual. But for all of us in social media, enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch back with everyone at least going into Monday of next week. All right, folks.